On this episode of Buff's Garage, I got to get Falconstein ready to go over 2,000 miles for Hot Rod Power Tour.
I found Falconstein in a field in rural Missouri. I then took him to Dalton's at Pole Barn Garage to clear out underneath the hood and get him running within a weekend, then decided to go play in the snow before I drove him 800 miles to New Mexico to Pole Barn Garage West. Once I got back, I collaborated with Hog Shooter Hot Rods for body and paint and threw on a fresh coat of white with a sprinkle of freedom.
Well, I made it back from Hog Shooter Hot Rods with Falconstein. What a transformation. Unfortunately, I was within a mile of the house when this happened. And now, with just a week left before I have to leave for Hot Rod Power Tour, I've got all kinds of issues. It's overheating, the radiator is full of pinholes, much worse than it was when I was out in the desert. Also, the clutch is acting up. I don't actually think it's a clutch. I took a look underneath, but I did find this. It doesn't look good. I almost wonder if there was some water in it. In all this time I've been driving around. I just wish I would have checked it when I checked the transfer case. Dang it. Whether that's water in the transmission, whether that's condensation from getting too hot, I don't really know. We might have bad bearings. I don't know yet. I need to dig in and figure some things out. Here's the Mad Dash, 1 week before Power Tour. Can we get Falconstein back in shape, ready for a 2,000 mile road trip? Let's find out. Well, things have escalated. I was trying to install these new tail lights, and for a moment this one worked great, and I was trying to wire that one up, and I wasn't sure if my connections were bad or if something finally went in the dash. And I reached into the dash, and one of these wires was plenty hot. If you remember, this was a rat's nest up underneath here, and a lot of these were chewed up, so I'm going to slowly peel all these apart. I don't have time for this, but I also don't want it to catch on fire. Yeah, see, this is completely coming apart. We're going to figure out what's what. Most of the dash didn't even work anyway, so I'm not too worried about disassembling this whole thing, but I do need the lights and the brakes to work. I was trying to, at one point, trying to hunt down the turn signals, but at this point, let's just get the lights and the brakes working, and then we'll go from there. I don't even know what this one is, but it was hot. Now this is the super oversimplified version. I cut out everything that didn't have a home, something that wasn't actually actively doing something. Yeah, so I just cut that stuff out. I did get a mini tack, so I went ahead and wired it in. I just have to wire it into the coil. I realized one of the reasons why my coil burned out was not just because of the heat, but this thing's been running on 12 volts. Usually there's a resisted wire or some type of resistor in line. I've looked, it doesn't have one. So I went ahead and grabbed one of those resistors. We got to rewire the coil to make sure that it's not running 12 volts all the time and burning up my coil. In the meantime, I've overly simplified this by running power to my brake switch and then out to the left and right light. Now I've wired them separately so that I will be able to come back later and add in turn signals fairly easily. Not probably before I leave, so we're going to be, we're going to be doing hand signals. But most everybody's going to the same place. It'll be all right. But with a push of a brake, got brake lights. And I had to make sure that my parking lights were working. And they are now working. So I can now put them back, and the brake lights are finally done. All the rest of the lights still work, but I don't have the turn signals. I like I said, I'm just not going to worry about it that much. Wiring complete, nothing is on fire. I will tuck all of this away. Once I get the dash back in, I will mount up my tack onto the steering wheel. It'll be perfect. Let's get back underneath the truck and finish all of that. Now there's many schools of thought on what I need to fill that transmission back up with. Some will say an 80-90, some will say just whatever is on the shelf. I looked at all the forums, and the forums said, Well, you can't go back to original because they don't make it anymore. The closest thing they make is this Ford transmission fluid mineral gear oil ISO 90. But basically, that's going to give us an 80-90, which I did some checking, called Inevitable Jim, and what I'm told is this particular transmission, I could have just gotten away with 80-90. But I did the right thing. I say the right thing. I did this thing, and I found this at Tractor Supply. And so this is what we're going to put in it. And then if I continue to have issues or if I need to flush it out again, I'll just put 80-90 in it and call it good. So in goes the mineral oil. I knew I wouldn't be able to pour this in, so I did the next best thing, and I got a pump. This fits gallon jugs. Hopefully it screws on. Just like that, you can see, there it is. Went ahead and checked the rear diff. There is fluid in it. It's probably due to be changed, but we are on a timeline that doesn't allow that. So we're just going to top her off, call it good. Well, neither the front nor the rear really needed much. It had fluid in it and it didn't look bad. That's a good thing. So while I'm down here, I might as well go ahead and drop the oil and filter. You know, we did some miles, it's time. Time for the extreme oil change. Not really. Big old 7/8. That drains our oil out. I don't see any metal bits. Okay, that'll work. Per usual, or as is tradition, we got ourselves a Wix filter going back in. I'm going to go ahead and top it off with a little bit of fresh oil. You can put it in dry if you want. I just like to go ahead and help the system along. I will now pour half of this back into my face. I went ahead and picked up some of this Rizlone Zinc ZDDP supplement, not knowing how many miles are on Falconstein, the engine, the drivetrain, the body. We just don't know. But what we do know is we want to give him a fighting chance to go everywhere he can with this engine. So we're going to top him off with some fresh motor oil, some zinc, a new filter, and then he should be ready to go. Well, except for the gas tank. Let's go tackle that next. Well, Falconstein's nemesis has returned, the rain. But you know what? Let's get that out of our system before I have to leave, because still no windows, wipers, enclosure of any kind. Let's just get that out of the way now. Right now it looks like clear skies for my drive to Indianapolis. But if you guys remember, the last time I drove this across the country, I had to fix the fuel tank. What you didn't see was every time I'd fill up, it would look like a lawn sprinkler underneath the truck. And it's because no matter how many holes I filled with JB Weld, it wasn't all of them. And so this thing is pretty bad. I also lost the fuel cap, so I got this Bob Drake one off of Summit. Coincidentally, the red matched the red, so that's cool. So Falconstein is a kind of collection of different car parts to make one vehicle. And I'm pretty sure by looking at the pictures and of course what I've got, that I have a 1960 Ford wagon or Ranchero gas tank. They're about 14 gallons. I can tell you when you go to the pump, you can only put in about 10 to 12 gallons before it starts to sprinkle the lawn with gasoline. You gotta be so loud. Wow, it's really raining now. So instead of ordering the exact copy of what I got, which was over $200, almost $300, I threw caution to the wind and I got this 19-gallon tank for a Ford F-150, I believe, and I think I can make it fit. It can't be any worse than what I got, and at least I believe it. And at least I believe it won't leak. Back under the truck, I may or may not have left in a hurry when I went to New Mexico. It didn't quite get things strapped back in. Well, I mean, it's strapped in. And it's held in place for at least 1,000 miles. And I didn't order the tank straps for the new tank, so if I can't make these work, ratchet straps it is. We've proven they work. I went ahead and pulled the skid plate down because I want to access these shocks. These have been here a while. Obviously, stuff is blown out of them. That one's okay, but this one's wasted. So, might as well, while I'm in here, get to those. But first, let's get this tank out. There we go. Well, there's some noticeable differences with the new tank. My filler hose that I got to take up the gap, that's not going to fit. I'll have to figure that out. And then my vent tube, which was like 3/8, is obviously much larger, like 5/8. So, we'll figure all that out later. The tank came with a locking ring and gasket, and the sending unit came with a locking ring and gasket, so we have extra. Alright, now we're all set. We're going to try to figure out our filler and our vent, and I'm sure I can come up with something. Well, the gas tank's mounted in. Now remember, this is out of a 70s Ford F-150, not a Ranchero, not a Falcon wagon, not an International Scout. I adapted some hose here, and then we had to finish this curve right to here. Everything is chunked in there, but it fits, it's tight, it is fuel resistant, it's sealed. Yes, I did not use proper tank straps because I didn't order the ones that come with the tank because I wasn't sure if they would work at all. So what I think I'm going to have to do is, after power tour, I'm going to have to come back and probably just make me some. But for now, it's in there and it's secure. Hopefully it holds. Alright, with the fuel tank kind of mocked in place, I need to start digging into the radiator. And let's be honest, this hose is collapsing. It's old. It's got rat chew marks in it. Well, that bottom hose is hermetically sealed to the actual radiator. Let's see if I can get this thing out now. Well, the radiator, I picked the cheapest one I could get on Amazon that looked like the one I had. And this definitely looks like the one I have. Oh yeah, lightweight compared to the other one. Aluminum, came with its own new cap. Although I did buy a stant, I do like those a little better. And I think we should be able to drop this guy right in there. Oh yeah, just like the old one. But first, I don't want to see any of this beautiful silver paint shining through. Now before I put this radiator in, taking it on power tour, I keep hearing about vehicles overheating. So I stole this from the Volare. You can tell by the desert dust that completely surrounds this thing. What I found is that it fits. It fits. Well, I'll mock that into place once we drop this radiator, which is now black. Well, on one side. Now I'll secure all this down. Make sure this fan shroud doesn't hit anything. You know what, if it does, self-clearance, it works. Hook up my hoses and we should be back in business again. I kind of lost the ability to put my plate on the front, so the plate is now part of the fan shroud. This is a piece from one of the shop lights, the old ones that were in here. Little radiator hose is on. Currently not hitting anything. That may change, but it's in there and secured. Well, after all the hard work on Falconstein, I couldn't leave well enough alone. The absolute beauty that is Brian's handiwork on this vehicle is unsurpassed, far beyond what I ever expected. So I spent a few bucks, not a lot. I bought the cheapest piece of trim I could find on eBay. These things go for almost $300. I think I paid 60, 70 bucks maybe. And in perfect fashion, it broke. Anyway, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. But check it out. I think it completes the look. Old Falconstein is going to be the prettiest one at prom. That's for sure. Prom being Hot Rod Power Tour. I got the old Air America Freedom Edition. Just some air shocks. Got those ran all the way up to the bumper as they should be. Look who came back.
Hey! Finally woke up after the thrash to get Falconstein done.
But look how good he looks. Even though I got him nice and dirty on the way home. Alright, so would you recommend painting a car in a weekend?
It's not for the faint of heart, and don't try to do it by yourself unless you've done it before, and then you'd know how much work it was and you probably wouldn't do it anyway. I told Buff this is the only job I think I've done in my life where I painted it and I literally felt like I was asleep while I was clearing it. It was just like this robotic thing you get into, and then it was gone and I never got a chance to really walk around and look at it while I was awake.
Well, you're awake now, and I gotta say, for asleep, he paints better than when I'm awake. So, and the number one comment I've seen was they liked the drywall spreader. Everybody loved that. That was a really cool tip, and will make your car straighter in the long run.
Faster. Straighter, faster.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
less
what it's
sanding.
all about.
Because I don't like sanding. Falconstein looks great. I'm finishing up these mechanicals so we can get back on the road, getting around, touring, seeing you guys out in the public. Hot Rod Power Tours, Colin. That's 2,000 miles in a truck that sat for 20 plus years in a field, buried to the frame in mud. I think that's going to be pretty impressive, and I hope that you guys are out there coming up, saying hi, checking out the truck, grabbing some stickers and merch. I mean, that's what keeps this whole ball rolling and keeps me doing the stuff that you guys like to watch. I've changed up enough on here between the radiator, the points, the distributor cap. I've changed a lot, so we need to see if it's even going to run. And then I have to get back to this whole issue of everything being held with a come along right now. The engine and transmission transfer case all move forward when I hit that hole in the desert. Oh no! So now I've got it back in place. I can't afford, or do I have time to wait for the new mounts for the transmission transfer case and engine. So we're going to see if we can't secure it in place another way just to make this drive, and then maybe we can work on it when I get back. Well, I suppose it's time to test my creation. Now I'll try not to get gas everywhere. Well, good morning. Tragedy kind of struck last night and filming ended while I frantically spent hours on the phone and the internet trying to find one of these. Well, this is the carnage that we're looking at. There's half. There's the other half. This is the second one we've gone through, which just tells me this is a problem. And if you look at the forums will tell you that this happens way too often and they have a solution. So I'm hoping the solution will work for us. And there we go. We're going to be replacing that with this. This is what was recommended on all the forums. Hopefully it fits. And then we have steering again. That's right. Last time you saw this, I was trying to install it in Falconstein. Unfortunately for me, Falconstein is so Frankenstein together that this part and this part do not equal this part. One end is correct. It needs to then do a 3/4 by 30 spline, and that's the wrong size. I ordered the size for the steering box for the 70s Scout, and apparently 77 through 80 use this smaller input, which mine's leaking, by the way, so I'll probably need to replace that anyway. This may be actually like a 77 Scout, not a 74 or 72 or 70 or even older. That blows my mind. To me, that doesn't make sense because I thought they put updated ignition systems in the newer Scouts. but this one has a fairly rare Holley distributor, which is hard to find parts for, by the way. It really is a Falconstein car. It's got an Old Points 304 International in it, mated to a 3-speed, then mated to the transfer case, but it's a mated transfer case, not a divorce transfer case, which I hear is rare. I also hear it's extremely rare to have a 3-speed and 4-wheel drive. I think they really did hit the parts bin with this one. They said, you know what, this frame fits this and that engine will fit in there. And if you ever wondered why we call it Falconstein, I just want you to think back to this moment and realize how much of it is just scrapped together with garbage they found laying around. So I made the mistake of ordering the part that I thought it was versus the part it actually is. And now I'm struggling to actually find somebody that can get me the part. I called around everywhere last night. That was Thursday night. I leave Sunday. Summit said they'd overnight it. Perfect. But overnight to them is Monday. I don't know how nights work in Texas or wherever I was calling. They said it was out of Arlington, Texas, which is only 6 hours from me. But night to me means go to sleep, wake up, it shows up the next day. To them, it means go to sleep, wake up, have all day to package it, then go to sleep, wake up. Oh, and then weekend, we're just not going to ship anything. And then come Monday, the part shows up. Found it on Jegs, same situation, Monday. I even found one on Amazon, same situation, Monday. If I were leaving Monday, I could make that work, but I'm leaving a day ahead to make sure I make it to Indianapolis in time to get my credentials and everything. I could just leave a day later and it would be all right. Anyway, being that it's Friday morning, I want to leave on Sunday. I wanted to roll this thing out and kind of sweep it out, get it clean, and we're going to try to do some bed liner. You guys wanted to put bed liner on Falconstein. We're going to bed liner Falconstein, but I now have to do it indoors, which I didn't want to do. But here we go. We're going to put some bed liner on Falconstein per your request, but just in the back. When I tell people I use this thing like a truck, I use it like a truck. That's why it's full of rocks and dirt and garbage, because I take trash to the dump. That's a lot of rocks. Well, I can already tell you it's not going well. I didn't use very much of this, but I just sprayed around where the rear seat is, and this is already empty. The other thing I noticed was it doesn't wrinkle. I thought truck bed coating was supposed to provide a durable non-skid finish, impact and scratch resistant, rust and corrosion defense. Granted, I didn't sand any of this, so I don't expect it to last, but it has a picture of like a wrinkle finish on it, and this is not a wrinkled finish. I should have went to Harbor Freight. At this point, for what I paid for this stuff, I basically got satin black. I have a whole bunch of satin black laying around, so whatever this doesn't cover, we'll just make satin black. Trying to find this steering knuckle has been kind of a cluster. This is the one I thought I needed, but isn't right. Trying to cobble something together to make it 2,000 miles just doesn't seem like a good idea. When I put the call out on the Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, a ton of you responded, and I can only say thank you for that, because without your help, I wouldn't be able to even attempt to do this. I would be dead in the water until at least Monday. But those that came to the rescue were Austin from Lucor Racing. He picked up one at Jegs and said he'd meet me in Indy, assuming I could make it to Indy, which may or may not happen. But then Sweet Manufacturing. 6% recycled put me onto them. They're right here in the USA. I called them and they said, we'll make you one right now, which is awesome. But then they couldn't ship it in time. So making the knuckle would be irrelevant if I didn't have it here. So awesome group of people at Sweet Manufacturing. Really great people. I will definitely be ordering parts from them in the future just because they're cool people. And the price was every bit as cheap as Summit. Then at the last minute, Van Atta Fabrication says, well, I got the part. Well, I couldn't get clear up to Sedalia, Missouri. It's 175 miles from where I'm at, and I don't really have the time to do that. So out of nowhere, Mom decided she was going to make that drive. So, thanks, Mom. When she got there, he didn't have the part I actually needed. So, he kind of looked at what I had. We exchanged text messages back and forth, and he gave me something that might work. These are parts, one of them's a part right off of his own truck, so that's awesome. Go say thank you to Van Atta Fabrication and check out his really cool rides. He's got some amazing vehicles. To fill the gap that we had to fill, we only needed a single joint, so we're going to eliminate this intermediate piece that came off the steering column, and we're going to try to make his parts that he sent us work, and maybe that'll get us to Indy. If not, you'll see me on the side of the road. Well, my plan was to test fit these, and I found that to make everything connect now, I had to pull the steering column back towards the seat, and the best way I know how, ratchet strap it to the seat. So now that that's pulled back, I should be able to get that intermediate shaft into that other U-joint, and we should be good to go. It steers again. And tighten everything up so it doesn't bind. One step closer to Indianapolis. In a last minute thrash to get out the door, I ordered the absolute cheapest seat covers I could find on Amazon that also fit these seats. These don't have the split headrest, and most seat covers you find are for split headrest seats. I mean, they're every bit worth the price I paid. Wrap that around. Oh, wow. Isn't that just fancy? That's way too nice for me. Call it good. Well, I gotta do the other one. Well, that's it. I've ran out of time, so I guess anything that I find along the way, I'll stop and fix on the road, or I won't, and I'll just be stuck there. So, see if we can get this thing out of here. That's that starter. It's not happy. Last but not least, I found this underneath the back seat of the car. I can't fix this because it was broken, but I can get it real close and just stick it on there. There we go. I know that's supposed to be a Ranchero, but it's what I got. Well, I guess I'm not going that way. Well, all right, I'm getting ready to take off for power tour. I did get about 20 miles from home just to get to the gas pumps here at Buffalo Ranch. What I can say is I had an issue right out of the gate. I noticed the alternator wasn't charging, and in all of my attempts to fix the wiring, I apparently clipped the exciter wire. So, 15-20 minutes of fixing that, we're back on the road. Everything seems to be doing good. The gauges look good. So, on to Indianapolis. forgot to mention there's a storm brewing, and it is out west, headed my way. It's going to directly follow the path that I'm on, because of course it is. So my goal is to at least get to a stopping point tonight where I can put up the tent, batten down the hatches, and ride it out when it comes, because it's not a matter of if, it's when. And you know, no windows, no back wall, and no hotel. We're going full camping experience in the Falconstein for this trip. So I can't go fast, but I got to get moving regardless. On to Indy. Okay, I can't believe it. The belt is still here. It exists. It is present. It is in one piece. It doesn't look great, but it exists. So, we are going to try and save it, and then I'll find another one tomorrow. If this can just get us somewhere else. I'm told this is not the best part of town to be hanging out in, but it's better than the side of the interstate. It definitely got hot and warped it a little bit. I think what happened was I hit some pretty hard potholes coming through St. Louis, like bad potholes. No, Falconstein could take it, but I think the alternator bounced too hard, and even though it was snug tight, it moved down just a hair, and that allowed enough free play that the belt moved. And once it jumped the pulley, I was driving highway speed, and I just watched the old temperature rise and the voltages go down, and I was not happy about that. The worst part is, every time I stop, it doesn't want to restart because I think the starter's burned up, because it's only 2 weeks old, so of course it is. Just like that, it's back on. Now, I usually use a pry bar to put some tension on this alternator because it's in a bad spot and you can't really get torque on it to then tighten it down, and I'm still not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to try to find something in my pile here, see if I can't add some leverage, or maybe look around and see if I find something laying on the ground. Hot damn, it's the cops. Actually, they stopped to check on me, asked me if I needed anything. I told them I could use this baton, you know, the old nightstick looking thing, to wedge in there and get the alternator tightened back up, but he didn't even carry one, so I don't want to know the stick he carries, quite honestly. But I got the biggest wrench I could, wedged it in there, got her tightened down. It is snug, it is secure, and now, hopefully, it'll start and I can get on to where I'm supposed to be staying tonight, sleep, wake up, and then try to get to Indy, where I've got a starter waiting, thanks to O'Reilly's. Well, despite all of my efforts yesterday, going into the night, it started pouring rain right here in the gas station parking lot. And although I got the belt working, the starter is dead. I can't get it to do anything. And it was pouring. This poor Falconstein lived in this parking lot overnight. I guess we need to at least get this thing running to either get home or something. Well, just for fun, let's test it. See if it healed overnight. I already know the answer. Okay, we'll try to put the booster on it, but I'm pretty sure starter's toast. Yep, same result. Starter's fried. Well, there it is. Apparently, if you let all the smoke out of these things, they don't want to work very well. So you got to keep that smoke in them. Nothing melted, but I can tell you it's not happy. Hooked it to a battery. Get it so you can see it. It's working, it's just not happy. Jim to the rescue. He was in St. Louis and just thought he'd drop by with a trailer because he knows me. But he's gonna try to run and get a starter real quick, and hopefully, if that works, be back on the road. And if not, he brought a trailer. We're good to go. Well, Jim decided to stop by. I mentioned that earlier. He is now back with the starter. So I'm gonna hand the camera to him, and he's gonna take a picture of the back of my head while I put it in.
Yes, sir. So tell your people where we're at this point.
As in location? I don't know.
No, on the progress of your dilemma.
I'm now doing the one bolt that's almost impossible. I've got the special cut down wrench that still doesn't quite fit, but it's just an international thing. Anyone that ever changed an international starter, they understand the bolt head is too big for the location. People say we make this up. I just want to point out that I've got witnesses.
Fact.
I did not make this up.
No.
But what a beautiful day it is.
It's not raining today. Sunshiny and
yeah, that was last night. All right, now it's just wires, and then we can test it, and hopefully it works. Yeah, I had a few people upset I wasn't at Power Tour, but I told them come visit me here. We got a one-car car show right here.
That's right.
I'm not kidding. You saw the guy that was here when you got here. That's what it's been.
Yeah.
All last night, all today. I had like 4 cops here last night hanging out looking at it. It's just, it doesn't matter what I drive, it's always something that gets attention.
Tell the people about how this is the 3rd Power Tour, you said?
Oh yeah, so this is the 3rd Power Tour that I've signed up for and paid for. This is the first one I've actually made progress to get to, but haven't made it. And I've heard the advice of you need to carry an extra starter. I mean, I ordered one, it was waiting. I've also heard that maybe I need a nicer vehicle or spend more money on it or something, but you know, a $10,000 car, even a $100,000 car is gonna break down. It's just a matter of time. So, just get what you got and have fun with it. Okay, let's see if that did the trick. I'm not super confident, but let's find out.
Hold on, I'll put this jump pack on it.
What brand is that one?
Gulu. It's an Amazon special, like 100 something bucks.
Okay, yeah, I think Dalton has one of those.
Some of the best money I've ever spent.
Something's rubbing.
Do it again.
But it started.
Your belt is all kinds of flappy, and
Which
he's
one?
not
The one
quite.
you just replaced?
He's got a turn in him. Look at him, and he's flapping all over the place, and your fan is hitting something.
The fan's hitting?
Well, it might have been the fan flapping into this, or the belt flapping into the fan, because it was all over the place.
Not sure if you can hear me, but we're moving again. I was going to call this and head home, but it's only 3.5 hours to Indy, and it's over 6 hours home. So I'm making the non-logical choice, and I'm going to Indy. Woohoo! This ain't over yet. Well, update. Overheated. Probably through the belt, sure enough. That's what happened. So, even though I passed a big town, and there's another big town about 10 miles the other way, I stopped in the only town without a parts store. But you know what they do got? They got a tire store, and they got an awesome deputy right here who's helping me out. He found me an alternator and a belt, but this alternator is just a little bit off from what we need, so hopefully we can modify it a little bit, and I can get back on the road. All right, so old alternator, pretty common, right? Except somebody's already hacked on it. So new alternator, which is awesome, thanks to the deputy. I went ahead and pre-marked where we need to cut, and they brought tools. So we're going to hack this apart right here in the engine bay because I already wired it. I don't want to unwire it. And then hopefully we're back on the road. I mean, I don't want you to get cut on sparks. I don't want to shoot stuff at you. You're trying to shoot it. Come on, baby. Boom, baby. Love it. That's nice and hot. That's not quite a perfect angle.
Yeah, I don't think theirs was either, though.
No, definitely was not. They didn't have batteries back then. You meet the coolest people. Yeah. Pretty good.
Yep.
Keeping that.
Yeah, keep theirs there.
Just in case. These awesome people. Where am I? Moberly Grove?
Moberly Grove.
Well, thanks to the awesome people here in Moberly Grove, including the deputy here, we were able to get Falconstein back in running condition, safer, better than before. It's not making that squealing noise like it was. So I think this is like the third time. On to Indy. Well, to catch you guys up, I have been pretty busy, and hopefully in all the clips we kind of caught most of what's happening, but I know I didn't catch it all. There was just too much. So last night it broke down East St. Louis, just across the border, And, you know, it was kind of sketchy. The location wasn't the best, but I will say this, every single person that came up to talk to me was the nicest person you could meet. It was not the best way to end the night, wrapped up in a tarp in a gas station parking lot, but you know what? Nothing bad happened. Start the day with a new day. I found 2 starters in the town I was in. I had multiple people offer to run parts. One all the way from Indy. He was already at Hot Rod Power Tour and was offering to drive all the way back 3 hours to where I was at just to help me get a starter. What I don't know what to say. That's just awesome. We fixed it. A guy local, you guys saw him earlier, he showed up and helped me get the starter not only picked up but then installed. We also adjusted the points. We found a couple of spark plug wires that weren't even attached, and I wondered why it was running like crap. That's why. Then we threw the belt again, so we fixed the belt, and then we said a prayer, and I finally got on the road. I made it about 50 miles down the road and started overheating. Looked down, sure enough, I wasn't making voltage, and I was quickly escalating in temp. So figured I threw the belt again. A little less wind in here. But then I ended up rolling into town, whatever it was, Mulberry. I'm not good with names. The tire shop guys were awesome. The deputy, Jared, awesome. Everyone along the way has been awesome. So then I made it to Effingham, Illinois, and by that point I had to make a decision. Am I going to try to go on to Indy, or do I just skip and go to Joliet? Well, Indy, by the time I got there, was going to be 7 o'clock their time because they're in a different time zone, and the event ended at 5. All of my friends are going to be gone, out to dinner, getting their hotels, all that. So I just said, heck with it. It's quicker for me to go straight to Joliet. Less driving. Can't overheat if it's not moving, right? If it's not running, it can't overheat. Can't throw a belt if the engine's not turning. So I headed this way. I made it about an hour and a half, and I just said, I'm tired. I want to shower. And I popped up the first thing that showed up on the Google, and it was this campground. But this isn't like your regular campground. Apparently this is a private owned campground. I tried to check in, and they said, sorry, it's RVs only. But then the owner of the campground came out, and he saw what I was driving. I explained to him how this tent works, which we're about to put up. I said, it's kind of an RV. Well, that guy was awesome. He took down my information. I gave him my credit card. He refused to take my money. I said, no, seriously, I want to pay for the spot. And he goes, no, do you want electricity? And I said, I don't need it. And he said, I'll tell you what, I'll put you close to a pole. If you need it, you got it. So he did. I have power. I have a beautiful spot. You guys saw the sun setting. There's a lake right there. And if I walk around just a little bit, there's a dock that I can go sit on. Showers, bathroom, everything I need. So I'm going to do a time lapse of me trying to set this tent up for the first time. I've never used it before. It's supposed to set up in the back of the truck. We're going to do that, and then I'm going to go take a shower and go to bed. And tomorrow, I'll see you in Joliet.
Driving through the night trying to keep my eyes open. The generator's busted and the AC's broken. I'm talking to the Lord, hope He helps us get there safe. And we made it to the show, now we're singing to the crowd. We're playing encore and they're screaming real loud. Try to get home early, but I know that ain't the case. Yeah, it's another hotel room, sleeping on the floor. I'm hurting in the morning from the night before. Pay my dues, I'm eating up the road. I'm coming home, baby, leave the porch light on. Yeah, it's another hotel room, sleeping on the floor. I'm hurting in the morning from the night before. Pay my dues, I'm eating, love the road. I'm coming home, baby, leave the meet and love the road. I'm coming home, baby, leave the porch light on.
That wasn't so bad. Well, good morning. Everything fired right up this morning, so I'm headed to Joliet. See you at the raceway.
It says Falconstein. Oh my gosh.
Short of the entrance, and I ran out of gas. I thought I had it full, but this new gas tank doesn't vent very well, even though I've got a good vent on it. For whatever reason, it makes you think it's full, but it's not, and you can't tell because no gas gauge. So we're gonna have to fix that later. Officially here, sitting in the line of cars, which I kind of expected, and not overheating, which is a first. So that's all pretty good. Now I just got to find a spot because none of my folks are here yet. Well, the rest of my crew hasn't made it, but Falconstein officially made it all the way to Joliet, Illinois, Route 66 Raceway. I'm on power tour. This may be my only stop, but at least I made it. It's pretty cool. Everywhere I go, people stop me. A typical gas station stop is anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes just because of all the people stopping, taking photos, and they don't even know who I am or didn't, but they definitely know now. Guys, I made it. It took 2 days to get here, but I finally made it to Hot Rod Power Tour in Joliet, Illinois. What a ride. I can only do 1 day, but look at all the cool people. Lots of cars here, lots of folks coming up to see Falconstein, but I'm going to officially get my credentials. Hopefully just enjoy the day. It's very nice out. Ran into these jokers. They actually showed up to Power Tour on time and, didn't break down. But, oh, Newburn's over here too. So yeah, we'll go with the cheap seats down this way because people want to talk about Falconstein. Slightly better than the Joe Dirt car. Alright, the event is just too big. At least at duct tape. Most of the places that you park are pretty close, but wow, it's a long ways away. But hey, look who I found. Hot damn, it's that Irish guy. Well, I found Jay from Irish Outlaw Garage. He made it all the way from Effingham, Illinois, slightly closer than I was, but it's always good to hang out with Jay. He's, of course, car nut like us. He's on YouTube, Irish Outlaw Garage. He did a 455 in the olds with, is that a tunnel ram?
That is a tunnel ram.
But with fuel injection.
Yeah, Aces EFI.
He did an Aces EFI, so you've seen that when you're scrolling Instagram and Facebook. Aces EFI on a tunnel ram, 455 volts, and you made it with no issues, really?
I haven't had one issue with this.
And do you still have Aces on that one?
The Ace is still on the ambulance too.
He also has a killer Pontiac ambulance that was also a hearse, that was also a coroner's car, and it has Aces on it too. So I'm not a fuel injection guy, but there it is, and it works, and he's been all over the US with it. Oh no, I know this guy too.
Yeah. Don't let him near my car. He likes carburetors. My phone number.
Here's the real stars of YouTube right here. Where? Say hi, Angus.
Hi, Angus.
Yeah.
One I want to talk to.
See, that's what it's about. It's always about the not big guy that you want to meet. It's the other guy. They're a lot more fun. Like these guys. Well, guys, it has been a full day in Joliet Hot Rod Power Tour. You got the Junkyard Digs crew, you got Pole Barn Garage, build season. There's just so many of us here, all hanging out, enjoying, telling stories, looking at cars. What a day. But I'm telling you, those folks that do this long haul, do this for 5 days, I don't know how they do it, because it's been exhausting just to get here, just for the one day. And I have met so many awesome people, shook some hands, signed some stuff, gave out a lot of stickers. Awesome day. Getting to meet all of my new friends. Those folks that have watched this build, as crazy as it's been, and all the breakdowns, it's definitely given me an opportunity to meet a lot of cool new people. So I'm going to spend the rest of the evening talking to my friends, and then I'm going to go to a camp spot, camp out for the night. Then I'm headed home because I've got to go help Dalton work on an El Camino, which you're going to see on Pole Barn Garage. So that's going to wrap up Joliet, hopefully with no issues. You'll see me when I get home. Well, I had a wonderful night of urban camping here in Joliet, Illinois. Awesome day of power tour. I can't say enough. So many of you got to come out, say hi, take pictures. Just to be standing around talking cars with you guys was so much fun. Had a good night's sleep. So now I'm going to try to head home. And like I said before, if nothing happens, you'll see me when I get home. Okay, you know I had to stop at old Joliet Prison. Blues Brothers, right? This does not have cop brakes, cop shocks, cop anything. It's just slow. Cannot jump a bridge. But how cool is it? Bucket list things.
Well, there you have it, guys. I didn't quite make all the places I wanted to stop, but I did make Hot Rod Power Tour for the first time ever in the last 3 years. I made it to one stop. I got my credentials stamped. It is official. Falconstein is a Power Tour rig, at least one time. Yeah, the lights are a little wonky, and we've got some new rock chips and stuff that we didn't have before. You know what? That's okay. Falconstein's a truck, and he's a road warrior, and he proved it on this trip. Even though he tried to stop me every chance he got. My mission for this was just to get to Power Tour. I achieved that. Unfortunately, it took over twice the money it was supposed to take. So if you really like this content and you want to see more of it, please hit up buffsgarage.com. Grab you a shirt, a hat, some stickers. I've got a new shirt I'm about to put out on the new Falconstein with the Freedom livery. Thank you guys for watching Buff's Garage. I'm about to go jump in Dalton's car, head to Puddin's Fab Shop for a collab, getting an El Camino ready, and hopefully we can drive it home. We'll see you next time.